Hello and welcome along to Basic Motion Graphics in Adobe After Effects with your host Robert Smith. In the previous video we looked at creating keyframes, and here they are here, that tells After Effects to grab the asset, in this case this Illustrator file that we've imported, take its position and move it around a bit. And as you can see, as I drag my current time indicator over time like that, the animation happens. Oh, I can press the space bar to do the same thing. So it gets to this keyframe here and doesn't do anything. Now I've got a keyframe here telling it between these two keyframes don't do anything. Aha, but this keyframe here at the end is different, like that. So that's a different keyframe, and so's that, and so's that. So let's animate another property. So we've actually animated the scale as well. We said OK at 2 seconds in. We want that, if I press the letter K, the shortcut to be exactly. Now this is something you must do. I've emphasized that in the last video. It's quite difficult to put this current time indicator right on top of those keyframes so we know we're changing that. So if I press the letter J, it'll go to the left, or K will take it to the next keyframe, like that. J and K, two very important shortcuts in After Effects. Okay, let's have a look at the opacity property. We've animated the position and we've animated the scale. So let's go back at this point here. Now again, I want to make a snapshot in time. I've already made one, and at this point in time this logo will be 100% opacity. Okay, but I want it to start off with 0 opacity, and as it comes into the scene I want it to fade in. So I'm going to go back to my start like that. And then I'm just going to change my opacity and watch what happens. Again, if I just click and drag that to 0, I get an automatic keyframe here. So now After Effects is now animating 3 properties as it brings that logo onto the stage. It's position, scale, and as you can see it's also animating the opacity. It's getting brighter as it comes onto the stage like that. Fantastic. Okay, at this next keyframe down here, we want it to stay there and at that opacity 100%. So I'm going to press the letter K to get to where my next keyframes are, and I'm going to click over here to make a snapshot. This is not an automatic, this is a manual snapshot. In other words, I just really want to copy this keyframe to here, so really nothing's going to happen in terms of opacity or scale or position, because these keyframes here are exactly the same as these keyframes here, so nothing's going to happen. For animation to happen, things must change. So I'm going to go right to the end, and in my opacity I'm going to drop it back to 100, back to 0 like that, right at the end. So now let's watch that. I can just press the space bar, on it comes like this, and nothing, and then it goes away, and all those properties are being animated over time using keyframes. Okay, now let's got one more to go, which is the rotation. Now rotation's a bit trickier than the other three. The other three work much the same, but in this rotation here I wanted this to rotate twice as it comes onto the stage, as well as the other properties. Now to do that I need to put a keyframe at the start like this. Okay, it has no rotation. Now for this to work I need to go to my next keyframe, so I press the letter K to go to this rotation. Again, it's in the rotation lane, and here these two numbers represent, this first number here represents a number of rotations. So if I was to type in 2 there, it'll rotate twice. Let's have a look at that. As you can see, as I press the space bar, it's now rotating, fading in, scaling up, and moving into position just using keyframes. Now that's a bit tricky, so I need to grab that, and I'm going to go to my next keyframe, and I don't want it to rotate anymore but while it's there, so I'm going to click like this to make another snapshot, or copy basically this keyframe to here, so nothing happens. They're exactly the same, like this. And now at the end I'm going to go right to the end, and this time I'm going to make that up to 4 rotations like that. Now the reason I use 4 is because we had 2 here and another 2 to take it off. If you have a look at it like that, again that can be a little bit tricky to understand at first, so if you're a little bit confused you might want to stop the video and watch that again. Okay, I've got my properties animating like that, and here they go off the stage like that. Now that's basic 101 animation using keyframes. Okay, now we can move these keyframes around wherever we like. Let's say, for example, I'm not real happy, that's a bit long. I want them to fade in a bit longer. I can move these keyframes at any time just by simply selecting them. I might move them to say 3 seconds, like that. My current time indicator there, so I'll know where it is. And I might grab these by dragging a marquee and just drag those to 7 seconds. And let's watch that. Now, I can rewind up here by clicking. I can drag the current time indicator like that, or I can come up to this little thingy here, I forget what it's called, and away you go. Now, as you can see, it takes longer to get onto the stage. It takes 3 seconds instead of 2, and now it's taking 3 seconds to get off the stage. And of course, conversely, we could always just drag them this way so things will happen a lot quicker, and drag them that way so things will happen. It'll exit a lot quicker. I'll click up here to rewind, press spacebar. As you can see, now it stays on stage for a lot longer, like that. And then at the end, we'll just quickly go off the stage. So you can time your animations just by moving your keyframes left and right. But I want to put that back to about 2 seconds, like that. And I'll grab these and drag these back to about 2 seconds as well. Now, one more thing. Now, this is basic animation using keyframes. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use something called ease. Now, ease is your best friend in After Effects, and what it does, it tries to simulate real-world physics. Now, I know we all stayed away the day we did physics at school, including me, but thank God the people at Adobe have sorted it all out for us. All the sums have been done in the background. You don't have to do any. What you need to do is simply select all of these keyframes. So I'm just going to drag a marquee over all of them like this, and go to Animation, Keyframe Assistant, Easy Ease. And what this does, it makes the logo, it'll start off slowly, it'll accelerate, and as it comes into position, it'll slow down, much as things would in real life. So I'm going to click Easy Ease like that. You'll notice your keyframes have changed. They're not diamonds anymore. They've got these little hourglass type look, if you like. So let's watch that in action. You notice it was very subtle how it slowed down like that, and now on its way out it'll start off slowly and accelerate as it goes off, which is, again, you can see it slow down there. By the way, I'm looping this by having this thing here selected up here in this little loopy thing, so you can watch the animation over and over. And that's what you do, you keep looping it over and over till you think, yeah, okay, that's how I want it, it's too fast or it's too slow, whatever. Okay, let's summarize what we've done in these first 2 videos. We simply imported a 1-layer Illustrator file, and then using keyframes, we animated some properties, and that's what you do in After Effects all the time. You're forever animating properties. And these properties, every layer that you drag into your composition like this will inherit these 5 properties. We haven't looked at anchor point yet because anchor point can be a little bit tricky to understand how it animates. But if you understand these first 4, position, scale, rotation, and opacity, you're well on your way to being a motion graphics animator. And it's really not that hard. I suggest you may watch this video a couple of times just to get your head around how these keyframes work. But again, I'll just summarize what a keyframe is. A keyframe is simply a snapshot in time of what any asset looks like. For example, at this point in time, it's sitting there. At this point in time, at the end, it's right off the screen and it's scaled itself out. Just like that. Okay, thanks for watching. In the next series of videos, we'll animate each layer separately and import a layered Illustrator file.